Hey everybody, this is John from ASN Pull Up a Chair. I'm going to go ahead today and run a 1981 game that I've been running from Game Pulse. It's just a project that I'm doing. I can explain a little bit more about it, but just want to walk through it. I want to grab I don't know why it's not giving me a link. So I can pop this out. I hate that it does. StreamYard is so hard sometimes. Let me see here. Got to be. Like nowhere is there a link to the recording. What I'm doing. And that is a major pain in the butt. Let me see if it's automatically popping it out here on. There it is. Copy. There we go. Get this out in a few places. Okay. There we go. Get back here. Looks like we got one person. Oh, just that's me. Okay. So we got that going. We're good. Okay. Sorry, everybody. Kind of just making sure I got some awareness out into some different Facebook groups. So let's jump right in. So let me just get this in real quick. Let's share screen. And Game Pulse. There we go. To add that to the stage. Let's get me way off it down here in the bottom corner. Actually, I'd even like to do. Yeah, it'll work. Okay, so what I got going on here in 1981, let's just back up. So hopefully some of you have already seen the Game Pulse Payoff Pitch Beta 3 long 3-hour video Mike and I did yesterday. At least saw parts of it, or you've seen somebody else doing this. So just today, I just figured I'd jump in here and show my 1981 replay that I'm doing. Just as a quick recap, what I did is I did a historical push, if you will, to June 10th, I think it was. And that's when the strike started. So all my stats up to June 10th are real stats. They're not simmed. Definitely there's going to be a lot of conversation with this PC game because it's going to change how the word sim is used a lot because it's definitely different. There's a historical pool of stats that's different than just simming up to June 10th. So these guys had real stats on June 10th. Again, I think that was my day. What really happened at the end of that first half when the strike hit. So I have those stats. Then what I did, and this was just a little different because I was really testing the game and playing around, is then I started, I don't remember the date, whatever they came back on, I think it was sometime in August. And I said, okay, play that all the way through. So it did. And again, I got all those stats. Then I went back and I imported a CSV file with the actual missing games, 400 and some, I believe. And I put that in. So what I have on the screen that you see, like Mike Schmidt has 33 home runs. Well, I believe he had 32 in 1981. And so that's all the games up to June, and then the second half. So it's the first and second half stats that we see in 1981. So now his 33rd home run came in a game that I had played out. So going to see if maybe Mike Schmidt hits 40, 50 home runs. I have no idea. It's going to be fun to watch. Fun to play out. So what I thought I'd do today, now that that's all explained, is I just wanted to play a game out, and I have no idea whether we're gonna. That's why it's in beta. Mike and I found some issues playing the other day. Maybe we'll find some issues, especially already a major known bug that Dana's working on, the developer, is the intentional walk. It's if you didn't watch yesterday, it does an intentional walk. The AI manager does an intentional walk. And then it doesn't actually put the player on the base. It just skips it. So that'll get fixed. And I'm sure in beta 4, which I believe he said is coming out like Monday or Tuesday, earlier in the week. Hopefully that'll be fixed in that. So if that happens, it happens. I am using AI managers, but let's go to the games. And again, I'm doing that because there's just a lot of testing that we're doing. I've got a resume button. Normally I have a play game. I just have resume because I already put in the lineups and I did all that stuff. So I just didn't want to go through all that again, showing everybody. So kind of off camera. So it's top of the first inning. And here's something new that we didn't show in yesterday's game, which is the ballpark photos. These are so easy to do, guys. And if you use Digital Diamond, it's the same concept. You're grabbing an image from the internet, from a search, and there's many out there, and then you're bringing that image in, and that's real easy to do, to drop it into the stadiums folder on this. I think it's called stadiums. Let me look real quick. Yeah, it's called ballparks, not stadiums. Anyway, it's going to go in this ballparks folder. And then you're going to go to mark, just like you would in Digital Diamond. Again, if you're familiar with that, how you have to, in Digital Diamond, you have to click the pitcher, and then you pop it there where it goes. And you have to click the catcher up there, and you have to put the catcher where they go, and blah, blah, blah. This one works so much better. They're all kind of jumbled in the middle when you first start, and then you literally just drag them where you want them. It's so much nicer. To give you an idea, it takes maybe 10 minutes to do the one in Digital Diamond, and it takes about 3 minutes, if not less, to do the one here in the Pulse. So in the Game Pulse, it's just so much easier to do. And so you can see if any of these are, you can always drag these in another screen if you want something a little different, a little higher, a little lower. There's runners on base. Obviously you don't see because there isn't any. Anyway. So without further ado, I'm going to just get rolling on a game here. So I don't even know, honestly, what my game options are, but I'm just going to jump in. It's probably from yesterday. So you can see the cards. I'm not going to sit here and go over everything anymore because you did it in the other videos and other people have. I'm just going to roll this game out. So here we go. So we're rolling the dice. We get a tough. Oh, we got the 0-0, a strikeout. It ends up being a strikeout. So it's up here. It was, I bet we don't have, and that stinks that I didn't have the charts on. Where was that at? Here it is. No, I had the charts on. That's only for the sack bunt. That's right. We figured that out yesterday. Okay. I'm just going to move on. I do think there should be more explanation when the 0-0, how it walks through that but it doesn't, and it might in the next one. All right, so George Brett at the plate now, and Wilcox on the mound. We got a tough and a 14, triple by Brett. Big. He only had one number there, and he nailed it off of a tough as well. That's all. So Brett's on with a triple. There he goes flying around the bases. All right. So we got man on third, one out, and Willie Aikens up. Aikens gets an 8 in play and a 95. He'll fly out to right, and Brett tagged and scored, and it was based off of his speed. So moving on. So 1-0 now. And we got a ground out to short by Hal McRae. And that will end the inning. So the Royals are on top quick here, 1-0. I did look at that screen, that little pop-up screen. I think I said yesterday you could reduce the time. You cannot. You can only add to it. 3 is the limit. And I think 5 is the max. And then there is also a wait until you click. So if you want to leave that up there until you click on it, again, Dana making sure, it's right here in the, where's it at? In the visual. Here we go. That's the transition duration. So 3, 4, 5, or until dismissed. So if you want to do that, you can. All right. So continuing on. Said I wasn't going to show all that stuff, and here I am showing it. All right. Paul Splitorf. Splitorf. I always say his name wrong. Anyway, base hit by Alan Trammell. So leadoff runner on. Trammell's on. And here comes Lou Whitaker, sweet Lou, with a ground out to first. And it was a fielder's choice, 3-4. So Whitaker on now. Here comes Steve Kemp with an in play and a pop out to first. So 2 down now. Whitaker on. And here comes Kirk Gibson. A tough and a 95. He'll strike. 59. It flipped them. So anyway, it's a strikeout because it's 59. So that will end the inning. We'll go to the top of the second, tied at 1. I'm sorry, it's not tied at 1. Jesus, come on, John. It's 1-0 KC. All right, Amos Otis with a base hit. Otis is on. And here comes Frank White. White with a 7, patient, and a 47. Ground out the second. 2 down. It is now because it was a double play. All right. I got to drink more coffee. It's earlier here in Colorado. So Wheelhouse, UL gets a single. So UL Washington on the base hit. AI does call for a steal. Washington takes off for second. And he is thrown out. Caught stealing. Lance Parrish gets him. So UL goes down to end the inning. It's KC 1, Detroit nothing. Fun, unusable fact on Paul Splitorf. His birthday is the same as mine, October 8th. I know you can't get that time back either, right? All right, so here's Parrish. Oh, I get some notes in that. I better start paying attention to the chat. I'm sorry. All right, so we got a strikeout of Parrish at the end of the half inning here. I'm going to pop up some of the comments in the chat room. So Splitorf strikes him out. Here's Walkenfuss. Gotta love his name, John Walkenfuss. All right, we've got a ballpark here with a 56. That's going to be an in play, fly out the center. So that's 2 down. And here comes Richie Hebner. 6, tough, and 23, and down he goes, strike 3. All right, that's the end of the second inning. Well, let's pop on some discussions here from the board. First up, we've got Andrew saying, good afternoon. Thanks for sharing the sneak peek. Absolutely, Andrew. If you want to take a look on my channel, you'll see a very long sneak peek into the deepness of this. 3 hours with Mike Canestrani and myself. Yesterday, we went deep into the draft mode and a bunch of really cool things. So, and can I put in custom ballpark that I use from a different game? Absolutely. These, in fact, because these are images that are free for anybody. I use Action PCs. So yes, you certainly can. Great question. This is much easier than the .loc from Strat. I have not used Strats, so I can't say whether it's easier or not, but you have, so you're saying it is, so I can't do anything but agree with you, or at least believe you. Is there animation? Animation, something that can be turned off. I'm assuming you're talking about the little stick figure running around the bases. Let me check real quick if that can be turned off. Here's your options that are here. You know what? I'm gonna see if I maximize this, if you get a bigger look on the screen. So you got the scoreboard up there, which is here. Everything's a little in the dark over here, but you do have the scoreboard that's over here. The play-by-play descriptions, those are those things that pop up real quick. I'm leaving those on lately. I had those turned off, but because I have AI turned on and I'm doing testing, I need to make sure what's going on. Like you saw the stolen base from UL, or attempted steal from UL Washington. With that off, I don't see that. He just all of a sudden disappears. And so I don't know what happened. So I have that on because of that. If you turn off AI, which I understand some people are going to, because you're just going to probably use the board game companion, many are, then yeah, you can turn this one off for sure. A runners list just shows the runners on. I've had that on before just for testing. You can see who the runner's on and hover over them. So I don't need that. The autoplay menu, again, if you're not using AI, that's this right here. You won't need that. Or is that this one? No, that's this one up here. Sorry. Highlighted defensive player and a result. That's there that you can quickly see after the play's over. It'll highlight them much like it does on Digital Diamond. It doesn't do anything for me, so I have it off. The show play pop-up story, that's that one that it was up there. The play-by-play description is up here. Come on, get it right, John. So this is play-by-play. That brown window that you saw come up, and it's only brown because I used their theme here, is the pop-up story. Defensive alignment, this is pretty cool. This is when the infield comes in. You'll see that later if we have that. So I have that turned on. I turned off this background particles, ballpark dust. It just didn't do anything for me. Inning transition, that's that wipe. So no, it does not look like you can turn off. I'm looking here to make sure before I say it, but I don't believe there's a way to turn those off. But I will ask Dana if he can turn those, give the opportunity to turn those off. Unless I'm missing it somewhere, I don't believe I am. So yeah, I will check in on that. And lastly, we got Andrew asking, I watched some of the stream this morning. Mike is great. Yeah, met him in the yeah, Mike's awesome. And he's so involved in so many things in our community. He basically runs that digital dice convention. At least he does the all the work to make that happen, guys. So that's a ton of work, and Mike puts in a ton of time to make that happen. So lots of appreciation for what he does. He's out watching the Rangers play today, not Texas, the New York Rangers. He's out watching some hockey today. So, but Mike is definitely a major player in our community and a friend to everybody and myself. So, okay, let's continue on with the game. Back to John Wathen leading off here. And Wathen, it's an in play, grounds out the short. All right, sorry, one down. I said yesterday on my channel, or on the feed that I did with Mike, that I wish this screen would stay up for the half inning. I don't need to go back to the other screen. I wish it would just stay here. I have not made that suggestion yet to Dana. I would assume something like that anyway would be probably a major change or major future release. But I am going to mention it because, like when you hit this here, line at the shortstop, I just wish it would just flip the next batter if it's within the half inning. But going back here to this, and now you got this. And now you got to hit payoff pitch again. I don't know. I try to. I understand a lot of people like to limit the clicks. So when you're playing on a PC, and so I haven't done Board Game Companion yet, which is probably how I'm going to use this software. But I'm not testing it as I use it. I'm testing it as a long time tester of software because that's what I do for a living. So I'm not testing it as I do. I test it for a go live release. And somebody else is beating the absolute crap out of the the board game companion, so I didn't feel a need to really touch that area. So anyway, so I'm wondering how it works in board game. Maybe I'll play a game after this and see how that works. Let's roll some more dice. So we got Wilcox again, getting a tough and a ground out to third. So that'll end the top of the third. Yep, we're in the bottom of the third, and now Cowan's at the plate. Still 1-0. Got in play and a fly out the center. 1 down goes Cowens. Here's Tom Brookins. Kind of threw me off there because I'm thinking Al Cowens. I'm thinking Kansas City. So kind of screwed me up there a little. Anyway, wheelhouse ground at the shortstop, though, by Brookins. So we got 2 away now. And Alan Trammell to the plate. Trammell with a 7, 10, 28. No, don't have him down. Pop up the short. That ends the inning. All right, so let's keep going. Let's move along here. George Brett to the plate. 6, tough. Pops up the short. Brett goes down, 1 away. And here is Akins with a double. So Akins is on second, 1 away. And here comes McRae. A wheelhouse from McRae. That's a base hit. That's a nice card. 43 to 69. 1 to 69. Against a right-hander, too. Nice card. So base hit anyway from McRae. Got hit at 272, and that scores Akins from second. So it's now 2-0 Kansas City. 1 down here in the fourth. We got a 7 patient and a 99 flat to the field. Kemp makes the catch. Here's Frank White. And White gets a defensive call here, 77. We got an error on the third baseman. And if you haven't seen the issue here with the errors, I think that was a potential error. And it was. Ended up being an out. That on the errors, and I'm doing full disclosure, guys. I'm not. This is not a rag of Dina. Anybody's listening to anything I've said, guy's amazing what he's doing. I'm just pointing out, as a consumer and a tester, the errors I've seen that hopefully he fixes. But I mean, Mike and I talked all day yesterday about, and there's no perfect software. The errors will show up in the box score for the team, but it doesn't show up for the individual. So I'm setting expectations, I guess, is what I'm really hoping to do. That people understand there's going to be a few things that may be broken when this gets released, but you can absolutely believe that Dana will fix them. But that's one thing that's just there right now. So ground out the third eventually here instead of an error. So that'll end the inning. All right, so we go to the bottom of the fourth, and here comes Lou Whitaker. You know what? Before I do that, let's jump in on the chat. I'm going to try and do this maybe every half inning. Can both sets of dice roll simultaneously? What a great question. Can they? Yes, they can. You can do auto. There's different ways to do these. And I believe it's the manual dice rolling. There it is. Roll all dice and the fact. So I will show you in the next half inning how that works. So let's resume. So great question. Next up, we got, I understand everyone plays at their own pace, but is there an intended or expected time to play a basic? In testing, that's hard to really come out with, but I'm going to still give you an answer. But I'm going to put a major asterisk to that, David. I have played games in this in 10 minutes or less. I think I actually timed it, and I did a 10-minute game. It was 5-4. So it wasn't a 1-0 game. It had some pitching changes. But I haven't sat down and flipped like a timer on me, turn on my iPhone and hit a timer yet. But maybe I'll do some of that today and just see what happens and, kind of try to get an average. I'm going to say if this takes you longer than 15 minutes, you had an extra inning game, you had a lot of pitching changes, or you're really just trying to get used to the software. But once you get rolling, this is 10 minutes, man. Now, the BGC, the board game companion, I haven't done it yet, so I can't say. I wouldn't think it's going to be any different because instead of clicking the dice, you're rolling your own dice and you're putting in the dice. So, or I'm sorry, you're not putting in the dice. Which, by the way, you can do that. You can roll your own dice and use this. Which maybe I'll do a few of those in this game. But in the board game companion, you're not doing any of the dice rolls, any of the fact stuff. You're literally having your cards on your desk, and you're playing the game out. So all you're doing in this is just putting in the results. So it really comes down to how long does it take you to play a game of Payoff Pitch. For me, it's usually about 15 minutes. So again, depending on some things that happen, but another good question. Pop takes 25, 30 minutes to play a game. I don't know what C7D means, but yeah, I know a lot of people say it takes them 25 to 30 minutes. I've been playing Pop since it almost came out, so I've got the charts pretty much memorized, and I don't really have to look around too much for stuff, so I can play through a game pretty fast. But if I see. you hit the 7 instead of the ampersand. Gotcha. Okay. So anyway, yeah. But I've also been very critical of myself that sometimes I feel like I'm working toward trying to get the game done fast rather than enjoy it. And so I really try to slow myself down and enjoy the game more. Because what's the goal? Is the goal to get through a season, or is the goal to enjoy the season? So, and I'm quite sure everyone's going to say it's to enjoy it. And so sometimes I find myself just trying to be a machine and get through, because I like to play out the entire seasons. So we're talking a year and a half to get that done, because I'm playing every team, every game. And so sometimes I find myself getting into a game like Kansas City and Detroit, where I have I don't care about Kansas City or Detroit. And so I find myself trying to go really fast sometimes just to get it done. And that's on me. I need to be better about that. So great questions, guys. Let's see, we've got any newer ones. Yep. Let me hit these before I jump back in. That is what they make patches for. That is exactly what they make patches for. And I'm assuming you're talking about all the little issues that are going to come up. The reason I say it, Andrew, is because I want to set expectations. I don't want people going, oh my God, the errors are wrong, or the intentional walk is broken. Oh my God, people start flipping out. I think if I can help set some expectations that there are a few things broken already, they're not already, but from the beta release side, that again, I really think Dana will have most, if not all, this fixed, and you guys will go, I don't see an error issue. I don't see it. And that's what I really hope for. But if I can sit here, if he can't get to it, because the guy can't get to everything, and ahead of time getting the software that intentional walks might be broken, then I just think you're going to be happier with the software. So that's why I do it. Or you could sit there and say, you know what, intentional walk is still broken. I'm not going to buy the software until the first patch comes out fixing that, because that's so important to me, which I would definitely understand. So anyway, I think it's kind of my job in this community is to do that, is to say, this is what the software does, this is what the software doesn't, and set those expectations. I try to make my projects to where I play about 3 games a day. Yeah. And we all there's a whole nother thread and videos and everything else on that. And it's, look, man, it's all about the time each of us have, the opportunity to play games. I have such a life and the things that are going on right now that some days I can sit here for 8 hours and play. I'm not retired. I have a full-time job. Sometimes I have 2. So depending on what's going on with my job, I have some free time. Sometimes I have a big time hurry up and wait type job. So sometimes I have no time and I can't play anything that day. So it just depends on what's going on. So we all have to set that and play it. And if you've looked at my page on the box score page that I have, I've actually now set up, it's kind of been interrupted a little bit with, trying to test out Game Pulse, but I don't really hit myself with how many games I play in a day. I've now set what I want to play that day, what's on the schedule, because I like to play a lot of different sports. I like to play a lot of games. I have over 100 games, and I have over 700 seasons from those games. So what I found myself was sitting here playing one game and looking over in my closet at all this stuff I have and going, wow, did I waste money? What's, what, I'm not getting to any of this. And it tended to lead me to never completing projects, becoming, oh, I played that for 2 weeks, but I'm so dying to play X that I put that away. So what I've started to do was put together a 7-day schedule and say, this is what I want to play on Monday. This is what I want to play on Tuesday, blah, 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 blah. Put in some extra stuff to say, if I get to anything, I do this. And right now I've been doing that for over a month and it's been perfect for me. So I'm keeping things moving really fast. I got basketball on my table one night. I got hockey another night. I got baseball another night. I've got lacrosse on my on my tabletop another night. And like when I say I have baseball on my thing, I have like 4 different things, if not more, different projects I'm playing. So I just jump on which project I feel like that night if it's baseball night, and so all that's working for me. Okay. And then Andrew says I play slower as I get older by choice. Yep. And maybe that's where I'm headed, Andrew, is that, I played 1986. What is that? Over 1,800 games in a year and a half. And I took several breaks in that year and a half. I burnt myself out of Payoff Pitch. I burnt myself out of playing baseball and ended up going, going to a bunch of different other games after that. And so now I'm trying to learn how to slow down and just enjoy what I got. And there can't be a goal playing everything I got. It just isn't going to happen. One more question, then I'm going to jump back into the game. Any Nighthawks NLL games coming? Right now, for those who don't know the NLL, that is the lacrosse. The only one I have, David, is 2006, and I basically had to rip through a lot of stuff to get that. I'm not going to go into that on this show, but I have that, so I'm doing the 2006 season. And I once that finishes, because it's not very long, as you know, the NLL seasons are not very long. Once that finishes up, I'm going to be looking for another season, and I may even try and create my own, because I've been getting really into the NLL. I went to a Colorado Mammoth game here in Colorado, up in Denver. I'm in Colorado Springs, and man, did I enjoy it. And so that was a lot of fun. So Andrew says, is baseball your favorite sim? It used to be. Now I don't know that. I guess if I had, I've kind of asked this when I have guests on my show, when I do the pull up a chair show, that if you were stranded on an island and you could only have one C&D game to play, what would it be? And a lot of people, it takes them a long time to think of it. And but because many of us love many different C&D games, and I would say right now today, and I would say that this can change a lot. Right now today, my favorite is actually, and I think I've answered this a couple other times, that I had said Hockey Blast was my favorite. Hockey period, but Hockey Blast specifically was my favorite, and especially the Express game. Love them. Now I'm gonna say, because I've been playing a lot of it, it's really switching to hoops basketball. I really into the college set that was released by Play, and because basketball is so hard to play because it's like 2 hours, but the way Play put theirs together, it's actually working for me. It takes a little while. I get it. Even their faster version takes a little while, but I've been having problems. I've been having fun playing that. And of course, just testing out this new software, Payoff Pitch, has been great. But again, have to understand, I played 86 and 77 full seasons over, add those together, I'm sure it's 3,000 games with Payoff Pitch. So I kind of burnt myself out on Payoff Pitch. But you go into my closet and you will find every season that he has available. I bought them all. And so it's not that I'm sitting here saying Payoff Pitch is not a great game or baseball isn't a great game. I just think I personally burnt myself out, and I would love to get back to it, but right now I haven't really. It's no longer my favorite, but it's interesting. It's your favorite, Andrew, and I'm glad it is. And it used to be mine, and maybe it will be again next week. All right, let's keep moving on in the game here. We are 2-0 Royals as Paul Splitlarf has a one-hitter going on. Okay, so you can see when I made that change that we got a different window now. We instead of having those dice down and there's just a completely different window. Now we got the pitcher versus the batter, and the dice rolls are here. So I think your question was rolling them both at the same time. It wasn't this, so I hit the wrong box. So I apologize for that, but it does show a different way to do this. And we're going to get a wheelhouse roll here. I'll see if I can fix this right after this batter. So it grounds out the second. Let's go back in. What did I do wrong? Manual dice. Thought there was a way to roll them both. I know manual dice rolling has you rolling your own dice. But I thought there was a way for both of those to go at the same time. That separates them. Here's a free, maybe it's a free roll. Let me try that. No, it's still not doing it. I know there's a way because I've done it where it just shows both of them both at the same time. So I've got to find out what that setting is. I apologize. So anyway, let's just keep rolling. So we got a single out of Kemp. And that is the second hit for Detroit. And he tries to steal and makes it. How many steals did Kemp have? Yeah, Steve, where's your card? Uh-oh, did we find a bug? His card should come up. Looks like that. I'm going to have to let Dana know that. The runner's card should come up. Maybe they only come up if you have that setting over here to show the runners, but it should come up right here. It doesn't. Anyway, so Kemp steals second. He's a B for stealing, so a little surprised. I guess I remember Kemp never doing that kind of stuff. All right, so Gibson at the plate. This does, I guess this, what this does do, and maybe this is what I remember, is that it does roll both dice without you clicking on it, but it doesn't roll all four at the same time. So, because I'm not doing anything to make the red and blue dice go after I hit the one. Oh, geez. And meanwhile, Kirk Gibson just jacked one out of here. So a home run for Kirk Gibson, and we got us a tie ball game. Gibson gets one out of here at Tiger Stadium. So we got a 2-2 game here in the fourth, one out, and Parrish to the plate. And he gets a defensive call here. Potential error, but it's not. As he grounds out to short. I'm going to turn off. No, I can't because I'm still testing some stuff. So sorry for the second window, but I'm only doing it because I got to do some testing. Still, this is all still part of testing. All right, so we got patient and a walk to John Walkenfuss. So he's on. Splitlarf really struggling here in the fourth inning. 2 out, 1 on, and Hebner to the plate. And Hebner's going to get a tough and a base hit for Hebner. Runner goes to third, so we got first and third. I guess it doesn't show the card. Maybe that never showed the card. I think it should show the card, but whatever. I'll talk to Dana about that. Here we go. Here's Wathan to the plate now. First and third, Splitlarf. Not Wathan. Wathan was catching. Al Cowens to the plate. Cowens with a tough and a ground to short, 91. You can also roll with these in place. Let me show that. Ground to short, ends the inning. Game options. Sorry. Up here, roll in place, no movement. Maybe that's what I was looking at, that rolled them both, but at least it's going to roll them at least. They may do it individually, but it'll be really fast. All right, so here's you, Washington. So we're going to roll the dice. Yeah, it rolls them both, but kind of rolls the white ones first. But that's about as close as you're going to get. Whoever asked that question, I can't remember. Sorry. But that's is that here? No. Okay. Anyway, whoever asked that question, there's your answer. That's as close as you get to it right now. Fly out the left field for UL Washington. And here comes Wathan. In play, base hit for John Wathan. Wonder if he'll steal him. How many steals did he had? 11 steals. He's only a C, so I don't think he'll end up stealing him, but we'll see. He does not. So Darryl Motley to the plate. And Motley with a patient single. So we got 2 on now and 1 out. So Willie Wilson to the plate. And Wilson with a fly out to center. 2 away now. Ooh, the runner went to third. Gibson made the catch. And Wathan made it to third base. So now we got George Brett to the plate. And we've got a ground out to the pitcher. So Brett runs the rally. 2-2. Brookins gets a ballpark and a wheelhouse, but grounds out to third. 1 away. Trammell to the plate. In play, he got a ballpark too, but grounds out to short. So Splitlorf playing on the edge here, but he's got 2 outs here in the 5th. Now he gets a tough and a strikeout of Whitaker. 1, 2, 3 go the Tigers. We head to the 6th. It's 2-2. Now we got Willie Aikens at the plate. Aikens is 1 for 2 with a double, RBI double, and a run scored too. So we get an in play and a fly out to right from Willie. And we got a hit on it. Was a range single for Hal McRae. So McRae's on. Now we'll bring up Amos Otis. 1 for 2 today. Otis with an in-play base hit. And if you look at the single, it's a line drive into center. Runner on first is going to advance 2 bases. So off he goes to third. We got runners on the corner now. And okay, so if you haven't seen the defensive alignment screen here, this is pretty cool. I do not believe this is in any other software. When I hit continue, because the AI manager here has decided to bring in the corners, you're going to see Tom Brookins and Richie Hebner move in, plus a really cool little graphic showing that they moved in on the corners. And there they are. So Brookins, that is interesting. Okay, I'm going to have to report this. This isn't really, it kind of is an issue. In the non-stadium graphic ones, the ones that come with the game, you get a little arrow showing Brookins, and he actually moves in about right here. And same thing with Hebner. So you do see this part that shows they're in at first and third, but it doesn't have the little arrows, which I think is really cool. If you watched the game yesterday, you saw that the AI brought in the entire infield, and it was really cool to see all the arrows and see the players like basically really up on the infield. So that was really cool. So that may be an issue here. Or it is an issue, I think, that I'll have to report. So anyway, moving on. Frank White to the plate. We got runners on the corners. We got 1 out, and the corners are in. Let's see what happens here. And Wilcox is staying in the game, which I think probably is right. Base hit for Frank White. That's going to score the runner from third, obviously, and send the runner to third. And he's going to keep those corners in. But now it's 3-2 Royals. And here's UL Washington. Washington with an in-play, fly out the center. Let's see if that's going to score the runner from third. It does. So now we got to wait a minute. Was he out? Yeah, this is another issue. I think it should have showed he was out, and he must have been out. Yep. Well, that's another one I'm going to have to report. I think somebody else has already reported this, but I'm going to make sure Dana knows about it. There should be that window that came up should show that he got thrown out at the plate trying to score, because he obviously did. And it's still 4-2, and now there's 2 out. So fun times. All right, so we got a wheelhouse. Oh, John Watson breaks this game open with a 2-run homer, and it is going to be. This is the other thing I would like to see is you got a little tire symbol there going on Wilcox. I would like to see, that's great that he hit one out of here, but I want to see how many that is for the season for him, and I have requested this. So, and here comes a pitching change as Kevin Saucier has replaced Wilcox. And you can see it over here. No, you can't. Nope, it doesn't show it. So, and it doesn't show it in the box score yet, which he says he's going to fix. So you won't really see it until you look at the team stats. And so I like to know that, and I think that's something that Digital Diamond does well. It does tell you that, it was like his 12th homer of the year or whatever. And it has, a whole stats. So we'll see where that goes. All right. So Saucier against Motley, and there's a double. And boy, the Royals are just breaking this open now. Stand up double. So here's Willie Wilson. Wheelhouse, fly to left field. And that'll end the inning. But a big inning for the Royals as they now take a 6-2 lead as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. And let's check out our chat. Here we go. We've got, does the runner ratings not show unless you hover over them? Would like to see the run steal rating stay up. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Once you get a run around, I'll show you a little more. There's also a run box. Let's go ahead and put that up. And to get that in here, I'm going to have to really, you know what? We'll do this to executed. There is a way to minimize these. And as I said the other day, he is working on making this a lot easier. There it goes. You need to really be touchy with these. Okay. So I'm going to make this really go up there. And then I'm going to go to game options and visual and the runners list. Let's resume. So when we get runners on, they're here. I don't remember if it shows their ratings or not when they're on the base, but we'll check that one out. And then you like the dice roll better. Yeah, I think once you get this game, you're going to play around with all the different options and figure out what works for you. And like I said, I know some people are going to just go straight to the board game companion. None of this will matter. But others, so I think somebody was talking about this on yesterday's stream was how what a great addition if you're a traveler, because you may not be able to take, especially if you're trying to replay an entire season or something, you don't want to take all those cards with you on the road, so you'll have this to go. The only problem with that I bring up is that you'll have to play the games as an exhibition, unless of course no you won't, because you would have to be using the game as a board game companion, because then your stats are in it. But if you play like just Payoff Pitch and you're doing it all manual on paper, then you want to just take the game with you on the road. You'll have to play them as exhibition games because your stats won't be there. You play board game companion. So so you'll have the stats there, which is cool. All right. So, and like I said, I think I'm going to do a board game companion after this, but I got to do a little setup because I got to get the cards out and set everything up. I really kind of want to do one today if I have time, which I think I will. Let's move on. That clears out the chat. So jumping in. So we got Steve Kemp at the plate, 6-2. Royals taking command of this game. Paul Splitler still in, which is Expected sixth inning. Oh, he gives up a single though to Kemp. So he got one on here. Start the inning. Kemp stole last time he was on. See if he goes again. He is going to call for another one. I see this. How do you guys feel in the chat? I don't. You're down 6-2. I'm not stealing a B runner to second base. That's me. But again, you have to understand it's an AI manager. So this is almost like kind of watching it on television in some ways. And you don't get to make the call whether Steve Kemp goes or not. And you could disagree with the manager if he did it. And those of you who haven't watched, there's different managers that you can attach to these. So balanced and aggressive and dead ball era and station to station. There's a bunch, and he's coming with more. So this would just be you watching TV going, why the hell did he steal Steve Kemp again down 6-2? That's how I take it, at least. Yeah, and VFS 148 agrees he would not steal either. So no, I would definitely not steal here, but let's see if we're both wrong. Because of course, if he's right, we're wrong, right? If he's wrong, we're right. And he's right, and we are wrong. Oh, back to the whole, you had asked this. Sorry, he was on base. Well, he just got on base. So there's your ratings right there in the runners on box. So you can quickly see he's a 6 run, a 3 jump, and a B stolen base. If you hover over him, you get that as well. I think what your request was to just see it on the field and not have to look at it in the box. So you can see right here, like you would, correct me if I'm wrong, you would like to see it like that all the time without hovering over. Just like you see the players without hovering over and seeing their ratings. I think that's what you're suggesting. Please confirm, and then I will give that feedback to Dana. So let's continue to move on. So we got Lance Parrish with a runner in scoring position now, here in the bottom of the 6th, and nobody out. We got an in-play single. Did we get the runner in? Yep, runner from second scores. And here come the Tigers and a tired split. I kind of like this. This is cool. I don't know. Some people may think it's ridiculous, or they think, is it raining? It's little raindrops. But no, that means he's fatigued. So get ready for, after I continue, I have yet to see the AI not take the pitcher out once he gets fatigued. How they are deciding is probably your next question, and it's going to hit the chat. How are they deciding he's fatigued? I don't know. I got to be honest. I have not looked into why, nor have I asked Dana, but I'm writing it down right now to make sure I ask him, because I kind of am interested, because there's no pitch counts. Like if you use Digital Diamond, there's pitch counts on there that show you that are made up. Even if you're doing the board game companion, which is usually what I'm doing, you still get those pitch counts, and then the guy turns orange and then eventually red. So I don't know if this is off his totals for the year, if it's doing it off the actual payoff pitch designation of fatigue calculation, because I don't use that when I play payoff pitch. I use Digital Diamond's pitch count, which I think is just easier and right there in the window, and I don't have to do the calculations. So I'm not sure where it's pulling that, but I'm going to ask. So, and here we go. Now this is issue that has already been explained and hopefully will be fixed. We all know Dan Quisenberry would not come in the 6th inning. He's going to come in the 8th or 9th, maybe the 7th back in 1981. So I think it's bringing in the closer way too early. This is not early 1970s baseball where Raleigh Fingers would come in the 6th inning. The closers in the 80s would not be in until probably the 8th. So anyway, I also, just so you guys know, what I have requested is an override to that. And to say, and you can't override this, by the way. Here's the problem. I can go in and take out Dan Quisenberry right now by going to the Royals, and there's Quiz, and I can flip to pitchers. If you watched yesterday's stream, you'll know this. I could put Ken Brett in to replace Dan Quisenberry. Here's the problem: Dan Quisenberry's done. Yeah, it looks as you brought him out and then decided to not use him. but he's no longer available. So of course I'm not going to do that. But so you could have, but what I want is the ability to override the AI's decision to bring in Quisenberry, the AI manager, and not lose Quisenberry. So again, see if Dana can fix that in the next one. We had real problems in beta 2 with the relievers, maybe even beta 1. And he's really made some major adjustments toward that. So let's keep giving Dana his props and his our patience so that he can continue to make that a better AI. And again, you turn off AI and you play Board Game Companion, none of this freaking matters. Or if you just turn off AI and you play the game as manager of both teams, none of this matters. So anyway, moving on. So we got Walkenfuss at the plate here. Now he's going to be facing Quisenberry. Patient and a walk. We got 2 on now. And now we're calling for Richie Hebner to square around a bunt. I'm not sure I would bunt Richie Hebner, but he did, and he moves him up, and so I'm wrong again. He was a B bunt. It was on there earlier, so it did show his. So all right, here we go with moving the corners in again. You can see here they're moved in, but on the other ones, again, there's little arrows showing Aikens in and Brett would be in. So that's kind of missing. Continue. Collins at the plate, 2nd and 3rd. And we got a patient and a ground out to 2nd. Runner scores. And it is now 6-4 with a runner on 3rd and 2 out. We got a defensive play, potential error on the shortstop, and it is error on short. That's on UL. Again, just to put out there, I don't know if you saw it behind here. There was a couple exclamation marks showing the error on UL. It was right up here. But now I go to the box score, and we got the error from him, but not the error here. I want the error here as well. So that's missing, but again, reported. Moving on. So we got Trammell up. It's now 6-5. Here comes the Detroit Tigers. We got a patient and a ground out the short, and that will end the inning. All right, let's check the chat real quick. And yep, correct. Okay, so yeah, you wanted to see those numbers under the players on the base paths, not in a box to the right side. Agreed. I use Strat's POW rule for pop. POW player. Oh, for the fatigue of the pitcher. Is that what you're talking about? Interesting. I haven't played Strat in probably 2 years. So my problem, I'm not going into what's wrong with Strat. And because as we said yesterday, there are no perfect games. So yeah, pitcher fatigue. I assume that's what you meant. Yep. Okay. You're saying pitcher. Yep. Gotcha. All right. So moving on to George Brett at the plate. Kevin Saucier is now in the. No, he was in the game before. He came in the last inning. All right. So Brett to the plate. We got an in play and a ground out the short, 1 away. Here comes Aikens. Aikens 1 for 3 with an RBI double. We got a patient and a walk to it. Aikens. I wonder if he'll pinch run for him. Shouldn't really in the 7th. And here we go with a pinch hitter. No, I don't agree with this. He's got Clint Hurdle coming in to pinch hit for Hal McRae. This is why this is wrong. It says it's significant value improvement available. But you got a left-handed pitcher in Kevin Saucier. You got a right-handed batter in Hal McRae, who is your, the number 5 batter on the team? Oh, 4. He's your cleanup hitter. No, this doesn't work. So, again, more work to do with the AI. This would not happen. But it's happening here. Tough and a strikeout. And I was right and AI was wrong. All right, continuing on. Here's Otis. Tough, single. We got runners on 1st and 2nd here. Royals just keep coming back. Good offensive game here. Tough flat to right field. And that is the inning. So we'll go to the bottom of the seventh. Let me get some coffee here. Check the chat real quick. Seems redundant to have this play show up twice on the dice screen. Where are you getting it twice? You may be seeing it here because I have it up for testing purposes. But let me know where you're seeing it in your mind twice on the dice screen. Well, let's check it out here. I have Lou Whitaker hitting. Defense. Maybe this is what you mean. This. Yeah, I don't see it twice here. So it's a deep fly out, unless you mean here and here. Yeah, okay. John Turnbull arrives. And if you guys have not seen John's games and under Powder Blue Sports, he's got some amazing stuff. And he's getting ready to pull out a fantastic baseball game that is more of an express type game. So his basketball and his hockey are amazing. So and football too, right? Yeah, you have all three. And now baseball joins the family over at Powder Blue Sports. So check that out. And then you come back to say under the batter card and then the dice roll. So I believe you're talking about here and then here. Is that what you mean? So yeah, I can see what you're saying. Lou Whitaker sends, if you mean this, I will not have up when I play. This is only here because I'm testing this out to make sure it shows things correctly. So yeah, and you said yes. So okay, good. Making sure I understand. All right, so Steve Kemp to the plate. Johnny T, we've been doing a 1981 game here, having some fun. Pointing out some cosmetic issues or even engine issues with the game as we go along so that everybody has their expectations set correctly. But we got a great game going in between all that. As it's 6-5, the Royals here in the bottom of the seventh. Steve Kemp comes to the plate. And Kemp against Quisenberry, who came in the sixth, hit Kemp with a base hit. So he's on again, and we know what Kemp's done so far today. As a B runner, has already stole twice. Is he gonna go a third time here? And what does the chat think? Is he gonna go, and should he go? Oh, that's good, John. Okay, so we'll add you to the list if you're there. John saying, for any of you guys who may be going to IndyCon, we are going to Thursday night have a draft using this software. It's going to be a lot of fun. So you're welcome to join. You're welcome to PM me and tell me you're going to be there and you'd like to grab a team. A lot of cool stuff going with that. But who thinks that Kemp's going to steal second here, or at least attempt it? And then tell me whether or not you would send him, because I, again, would not send Kemp here. That one-run game, bottom of the seventh. You got who coming up? You got Gibson, Parrish, Walken, but no, maybe not Walken as much, but Parrish and Gibson coming up next. Gibson's already homered tonight. I am not sending Steve Kemp. So, all right, let's see what happens here. But I've been wrong twice. Oh, this time he doesn't send him. Oh, by the way, it's up here in the decision area. I've got executed, so let's do what his evaluation was. His evaluation was, I'm just going to pull this down for a second, and I can pop it right back up. So all these pinch hit ideas. Okay, pinch hit for Kemp. No. Oh, he didn't. Oh, that's weird. Didn't even consider it. Why would you consider it the first couple innings and then not consider it now? So got to tell that one to Dana. That's interesting. All right, so let's continue on. And here comes Gibson to the plate. And we've got a strikeout of Gibson. Strikeout H, forced steal pending. All right. See, this is why I get this window up. So it looks like he tried to do a hit and run, not with Gibson. Again, I wouldn't have done that. And now it's going to force a steal pending. I do not know what that means. I would assume what that meant was now we're going to try and steal because he missed it. The pitch went by, strike three, there goes the runner. But that's not what happened here. So I don't know what happened. Want to write that down? You ain't. Still no perfect software, guys. All right, Lance Parrish to the plate, 2 down. Or no perfect game. I say software because I'm working on software. So Quisenberry strikes out Parrish. And that does end the inning. As Parrish can't catch up to Dan Quisenberry, strikes him out. So the Royals are hanging on here, 6-5 as we head to the 8th inning. And Saucier is fatigued and is leaving, and Dave Tobeck into the game now. Face UL Washington, John Wathan, and Darryl Motley here in the top of the 8th. So we got Tobeck going with a tough and a strikeout. He gets Washington 1 away. Manager's going to send Jerry Grody to pinch hit for John Wathan. Significant improvement. Okay. Well, he is a 288 hitter. Wathan was what, 214 or something? So, again, I think I mentioned this yesterday. For me, I know I probably think too deep because I'm a former catcher. But at 6-5, you're winning. Do you pull anybody, catcher, infielder, outfielder, and pinch hit for them when you're winning, and then lower your defense? I don't think most managers do. None that I ever played for. I don't know if Grody is a better defender or not than Wathan or the same. But with 1 out, nobody on, I wouldn't have made this move. So that's kind of my thought process on it. But here we go. Let's see what Jerry does. He's probably going to get a base hit. Nope, he flew out the left. So that's 2 down. Here's Motley. Interesting. He batted the 9th batter, but pinch hitted for the 8th batter. Ground out the 2nd. Ended the inning. And we're going to the middle of the 8th. Quisenberry out, which this is the point where Quisenberry should be coming in. But here's Reenie Martin replacing him. So Walkenfuss at the plate. I would have considered a pinch hitter here because what is he, a 215 hitter? Yeah, I know he hit 9 home runs. You got to remember this is a strike shortened season, but I would have pinch hit for Walkenfuss and I would have been right. Strikes him out. And now he's going to pinch hit for Hebner. Okay, Ron Jackson into the game. And I wouldn't have done this. You got a right-handed pitcher, and now you brought it in. You took out Hebner, a lefty, for a right-hander Jackson. Even in 1981, they wouldn't have done that. And, of course, he gets a single. Pinch hitter again, Lynn Jones in for Al Collins. Righty for a righty. I have to look at what the bench is to decide if that was a good move, but in play, fly out to right. We got 2 down here in the 8th. And here's Brookins, who leaves the number 9 hitter in. In play, grounds out to short to end the inning. So we're going to go to the 9th. Kansas City leading 6-5. And he leaves Dave Tobeck into the game. And Tobeck had 1 save that year. We're in a 6-5 game in the 9th. Oh, they're losing, though. Sorry. They're losing, not winning. Okay, I'm good. I still might bring in the closer because you don't want them scoring in the 9th. You want a shot in the bottom of the 9th. That's me. I think a lot of managers, too. Willie Wilson, the plate. Ground out the short. 1 away. There's Brett. Ballpark, but he grounds out the first, 2 down. And here's Akins. Tough ground out the second. Ends the inning. All right, we're going to the bottom of the ninth. Let's see what the Royals decide to do for pitching. They leave Rainey Martin in, who had 4 saves. Let's take a look at the Kansas City bullpen and see if we would have done something different. Again, Quisenberry is brought in too early, so he's gone as a possibility. Other potential relief pitchers was Ken Brett. Come on, Ken, where's your card? I have to click on. All right, sorry. See, this should just hover. Hovering should be everywhere or nowhere, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Ken Brett, 2 saves. Behringer, more of a he had no saves, but he is career-wise was a closer. I got no saves here, so because it took out Quisenberry, there's nobody left to go. So I guess what he's going with will have to work. So Rainey Martin in the game trying to pick up the save. Alan Trammell to the plate. They got Trammell top of the order. Trammell, Whitaker, and Kemp. Ballpark in play. Fly out to right. 1 away. Here comes Whitaker. In play, center field, 2 down. And here comes Kemp. Last chance for the Tigers. Patient and a base hit from Kemp. Man, what a game he's had. So Kemp's on. And here comes Kirk Gibson. They got Gibson to the plate with a chance. Gibson, get your card out of the way. There you go. Gibson today 1 for 3 with that 2-run homer. He has struck out twice, though. So do you bring in a lefty here? I think they did have a lefty, didn't they? Yeah, Ken Brett, right? Left-handed pitcher, 22 games. All right, so here's where I'm going to override AI. It's got Rainey Martin in the game, right-hander. And I know if you look at Rainey's card, here's 2.77 ERA, really good. 4 save. Let's leave him in. I could override, though, and bring Ken Brett in lefty to face lefty. But I'm not going to do it. I will let AI stay with his guy and see who was right. And there we go. A tough and a flat to right field. So, of course, AI was right and I was wrong. That ends the game. All right. So those of you who haven't seen the cool way of some things here, I'm going to get into my favorite new word or phrase that I am coining. It belongs to me, damn it, which is dice analytics. I love this part of the game. Even if you're doing, especially if you're doing a board game companion, this will apply. Anyway, player of the game, it decided was John Wathan. I really like this drop-down window, and you're able to pick out anybody you want. Should have never pinched it for Hal McRae. Amos Otis had a really nice game. Could look at, the only thing I don't like here is and I'm going to mention this, I think, is I'd like to have a filter to pick out either team, because sometimes the visiting team has a guy that's should be considered the player of the game, not just the winning team. And to me, Steve Kemp had a monster game. I would make Steve Kemp the player of the game here. But he gave it to John Wathan, who went 2 for 3 because he had a home run. All that makes sense. Could give this to Rainey Martin, could give this to Dan Quisenberry, could give this to Paul Splitlord, but I'll go with AI's pick of John Wathan. Why not? But I'd like to see some differences there. So you see the winner, you see the loser. I would like season figures here, and I've asked for it. So I want to see that Paul just won his 10th game, blah, blah, blah. Rainey Martin's 8th save. You will see it in the box score, though. So we go up here, final 6-5. And so you see the stats, but here you go. So I'd like to see that on that screen. That's just me. Now I figured, actually Mike pointed this out yesterday, because I was like, well, there's no way that's Quisenberry's first hold of the season. I know he's a closer, but we had a relief pitcher in there, and then he reminded me holds weren't part of 1981, so it probably was his first hold on this season. So anyway, but save, that's Rainey's 5th. As you remember, when we were looking at his card, he had 4 saves in real life, because if you didn't catch the beginning of this whole thing, all the real life stats were in here for 1981. and I'm playing the missing games. So he had 4 saves, not simmed, real life stats, and he just got his 5th. So I'm adding those games in. So it'd be interesting to see where some of these guys go when we get a 20-game winner in 1981. So Wilcox loses his 10th. He falls to 12-10. Right here, updates are coming to add season totals here to all these. And then again, as I mentioned, there was an error, and there should be an error down here. This is nowhere near the fun part of this box score. This is changing how I think how we look at the story of a game. Instead of the story being it, and not I shouldn't say it that way. This can potentially, depending on how you want to use it, can change the story of your game. So it's 6-5, right? We got all that. Here's some play results, which I think is really cool. So if you wanted to get into like explain to somebody, or you want to put on Facebook that who hit that home run? It was John Wathan. So Wathan hitting the home run. Everything's right here. It was a wheelhouse, obviously, for that, and he hits a home run. I think that's pretty cool. You got some numbers here, but I think this is cool, but not the best part yet. But I do think this is pretty neat to see how this is, especially if it's, maybe a wheelhouse and something else. Anyway, it's keeping everything that you do, but that's not the exciting part. This is the dice trends. So if we look at first the Tigers and look at Milt Wilcox, we can see that Milt, we rolled 6. And again, so if you do the board game companion, you're going to get this. So what we rolled the most was a 7, 6 times on his card. So this is what I call dice analytics. So we can see we never rolled an 11, never rolled a 12 on his card. And most 23% of the time we rolled a patient on him. So it probably explains maybe a lot of walks that he might have had that he normally doesn't have. And you can show this, that's just what happened in this game. I just think that's so cool. And then, of course, you can break it down by inning. So that bad inning he had, which was here in the 6th, you can see it in play. You can see the numbers that were rolled. I just think this is so cool to look at this type of stuff. And, why was Kevin Saucier so effective? Because what did he have? Two innings? He shut him down. I can't remember. But he had most of his rolls go against his tough rating. So, because he had 3 8s. And you can just play this out, this dice analytics to death. You can go over to Kansas City and look at Paul Splitloff, and he had most of his on the tough, some on his ballpark. He survived 4 ballparks. That's how I look at this. Dice analytics is a very interesting thing. 4 ballparks on him. And I just think that's pretty cool. And we actually hit every single number on his card. And what did he pitch? 5 innings? So that's pretty interesting that we hit every single one. And then you look at Quiz, he came in too early, but he faced 7 batters. And out of the 7, 3 times he was on his patient, yet didn't give up any runs. That, to me, is a different story that you can tell about this game that happened you just watched. So there's a lot that you can look at here. Again, if you didn't watch the other shows, these are broken in beta 3. They were working in beta 2, and I have reported it, but it used to work. I don't know if it's because it's too long and it can't handle that, or if something happened, but neither one of these are working, unfortunately, but it did work before. And so I'm sure, again, he will have it fixed. Let's jump into the chat real quick, see if there's any specific questions. Let's see. Here we go. Are you able to program and print? No. All you can do, David, is pick the different managers that are out there. Balance, blah, blah, blah. You can't sit there and say, I want, 80% of the time for you to play infield and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't have that. If that's what you're asking, which I think you are. Will there be specific season rules, ghost runners versus normal? Great question. I don't know the answer to that, and I will go ask it. I have 2024 as a season, So that would be interesting to play a couple games and see if I can get to extra innings and see if it does that. That's a great question. So I will check that. I'm sure they've already tested it. They've got several testers in there, and somebody is doing 2024. So my guess is they've tested that, and if they haven't, they need to. Okay, so getting out of the game now. So we go back to our standings. I think this is really cool. So now our standings are going to be updated with that Kansas City win. Where are you, Kansas City? There you go. Now they're 52 and 53. They get now on a 1-game winning streak. Again, these brought in the streaks that they might have had coming at the end of the season. Because I did a historical replay up to, or did all the actual played games in 1981. So this would have been the end of the season, whatever that was, October 4th. And now adding in or subtracting in if you lose. What happened? So for the Royals, that they must have ended a losing streak. Should have looked at before I started, but that's okay. And for the Tigers, they dropped to 60 and 51 in a really tough division for everybody but the Blue Jays. And that's the Indians' third loss in a row. Whoa, here's a mistake. Tigers should not be at a 1-game winning streak. They should be in an L1. So got to report that one. Good. That's why we test. All right, so we'll figure that one out. And here are 3. They are falling quickly. And Indians are going to catch them here. 3 out of the last 7. Assuming that's right, because I don't know if you guys do this, but I do. Once one thing's wrong, I question everything. And that's what I think is what happens when you're a tester for a living. It's like being an ER doc and trying to watch the TV show ER. You're going to start questioning everything. Anyway, so that's that. If you go back over to the games, you'll see I've been playing some games here. Here's the game we did play. It does now show, or it shows here, the records, which are not right. That is not right. Oh, I know why. Now, this is going to be specific to my project, and I have explained this issue to Dina. I don't know how you really fix this. Maybe he can programming in the back end because because it's taking in the records to that date. So on June 13th, before this game started, Paul Splitloff was 3 and 4, and so now he's 4 and 4. But over here, it's taking in the entire season stats because I did those games. So one is pulling from the schedule, if you will, and the other is pulling from the actual database amounts that they have, if that makes sense. This is due to my project, not a bug in the game. So if I was doing any other sim, or project, this would not be an issue. It's weird that I'm doing this 1981 issue. And again, really what I should have done, and we didn't know we could do this because we were playing around testing, what I should have done was tested or did the historical replay up to June 10th, I think it was, and then started playing the games. This is what I would like done. Then start playing the games, get to that date that they came back, and then historical replay the rest. But that's some programming for Dana to achieve. So there was no way to make this perfect for 1981. So when you look at the records over here and the box scores, it's based on date. When you look at the totals over here, it's based on total season because of this weird 1981 season. Anyway, hope I didn't confuse people even more. So that's how this one works. Any questions in the chat? Let's see. Are you able? We already asked that. Let's see. What's this one? Specifics. Yeah, we already got that one. I guess that's about all I can show for now. But hopefully this helped. If you have more questions, you can always DM me or find me on Facebook or whatever. I'm more than happy to, Give feedback to Dana. He loves it. He loves it from the testers. He loves it from the community. He's trying to build the perfect product. There isn't one, but Dana is trying. That's his goal. And so, let's help him get there. What do you want? Can he build a piece of software that's going to make everybody happy? Heck no. He is not going to be able to do that. But because, you're just going to have conflicts. One person wants to see this, one person doesn't, so he does as much as he can to give you tools to turn this off and that off. But at what point does it become too much, too many options? So he's just going to do his best to get out what is a good working piece of software that I believe mainly is going to be used as a board game companion. But of course, we still have to make sure everything else works, including the AI portion of this, because it is fun to play the AI once in a while. At least for me. Again, you're not going to make everybody happy. So some people are going to shut off AI and never use it, and that's fine. And some people are going to turn it on and play against it. And some people are going to turn on both coaches or both managers like I just did, and just watch and play the game. So it depends on how you want to use the software. And I just think it's awesome that he has it set up to try to get it to work for everyone. So if there's something special, something you think, wow, no other software will do this, so I'm not even going to mention it, that this is the time to mention it. This is the developer to mention it to, when it comes to this software, software rather than just, we're not trying to change POP here, Payoff Pitch. That all belongs to Joe Bryan. But this is the software, not enhancement, because it's not enhancing. It depending on how you take that, but this is a companion. There's the word I'm looking for, to Payoff Pitch. So if there's something you want in the companion software that will make it more exciting, whether you're using John Turnbull's game, whether you're using any other game out there, APA, Strat, all of them can be used in this because of the ability for the board game companion. You do not need to buy seasons if you're doing the board game companion. If you don't want if you're okay with them, not having not having the ability to sim and not having the ability to see the defensive ratings, which I have asked if that could be added so we could get those defensive ratings in there. But buying the seasons gives you the images, gives you the ability to sim. That's what the season piece does. That has been so confused out there for a lot of people. Do I have to buy the season in this? No, unless you want those extra capabilities, then yes. So hopefully that makes sense. That's all I got for today. Happy Sunday, everybody. And I will talk to everyone later.